Hello and welcome to Around the Miniverse, where I take a look at this week's Around the Verse and condense it down to just the highlights and visually appealing graphics. The first part of the program introduced a new segment called Burn Down, where they showed a more behind-the-scenes look at the development process. Most of it just focused on bug fixing, but it did have a cameo from my new favorite person, Vincent Sinatra, who had this to say about quality assurance.
We're going to be able to take someone's special baby that they've been working on as a new feature for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we basically tell them their baby is ugly. We collect developer tears, as we like to call it.
Yeah, I've never heard it summed up so eloquently before. Having started out in a QA job myself, I found this to be particularly entertaining. Other than that, the entire segment could be summed up with the statement, bugs are getting fixed. I did get a little nostalgic hearing terms like sanity checks, crash on boot, new builds, and driving designers crazy. It's good to see that nothing's changed. The most interesting thing to hear is that they've implemented rotating planets, which on last account was proving to be a rather difficult feature to accomplish, and its presence in 3.0 is becoming tentative. It's good to hear that rotating planets is confirmed, and having the ability to rotate along a planetary axis is just getting us one step closer to having planets eventually rotate along a celestial axis, essentially meaning the sun. Once that becomes reality, we're going to start to see some major gameplay elements start to take form in the areas of exploration and long-distance travel, something I'm very much looking forward to. The next segment was all about the MobiGlas. It's really become something akin to what you'd find on a desktop OS. The render-to-texture technology has become integrated into the MobiGlas and will eventually be hooked up to all the UI elements across the board like ship displays, shopping terminals, kiosks, and so forth. This allows them to render a 3D scene like a comm call feed or an image representation of an in-game item and render it into a 2D screen or within a 3D hollow volume. Now, the same bespoke code can be used to render all 2D and 3D graphics alike to create things like holograms, mini-maps, views of anything you want really, mapped onto any instance of a UI screen, all in real time while making it look much more visually appealing than ever before. This also makes it easier for them to create the effect of screens for similar things, but in some instances will look much more technically dated than others. The UI for those areas need to be redesigned specifically for that archetype. More technologically advanced displays are going to have more 3D elements added onto them. The MobiGlas is manufactured by Microtech, which is responsible for creating all of the handheld devices in the universe, so the MobiGlas itself is going to be a rather high-end bit of tech with a completely 3D projected interface. The MobiGlas is going to be your one-stop to access all of the features in the game. The home screen for it will have various widgets that you can customize to your liking with dedicated apps that serve very specific purposes like managing mission contracts, making purchases, keeping track of your money, customizing your loadouts, viewing maps, keeping tabs on your character's health, or monitoring the surrounding environmental conditions. The MobiGlas had to be redesigned to work with all of the existing clothing assets, so it had to become thinner and more streamlined. It has also become updated with two versions, the civilian MobiGlas, which will be the thing that you're wearing in your civvy clothes, and the military version, which is going to be the thing that you're going to be wearing with armor. Another interesting tidbit was that we're eventually going to be able to customize them, which would show off what brands we've purchased or how expensive it was. This may also be an indication of us being able to have differing HUD displays sometime in the future or be provided with more complex design elements. Eventually there are going to be more applications created than could fit on the home screen for your MobiGlas at one time. So just like in Windows, you're going to get to choose which apps are most important to you to be able to be displayed, and as your needs with the games change, you can alter your MobiGlas functionality to match that. The UI of the MobiGlas is designed to be seen by not just the player, but the player character as well, and other characters in-game. It's just as much a part of the environment as the avatars themselves. Connecting the player character to the UI screen adds to the level of immersion and is going to be the perfect solution as to how to display UI and HUD elements in VR. The goal is to make something visually interesting and unique, fun to use, but also make it immediately understandable. Also to make it modular to fit with the growing needs of the game, but not so modular that the player can mess with its core components. They go into a very in-depth discussion about the creation of the audio files for the MobiGlas, which starts at 19 minutes and 24 seconds into the show, in case you're interested in seeing more of it for yourself. I'd personally recommend it for all the audio files out there. And here's some of the sound file examples that they shared with us. The MobiGlas can also double as a star map, and they're hoping for it to eventually act as a form of radar as well. This feature was first shown off during Gamescom last year as a way to quantum travel between points, but it's been heavily iterated upon since then, adding new visual effects, gameplay engineering elements, and audio additions that really bring it up to the next level. This is intended to be the first aspect of the world display system, which will eventually display local elements like a radar does of your immediate surroundings, then be able to zoom out to show worlds, solar systems, and entire galaxies, as well as be able to pinpoint any elements found within it that you can access more information on. Elements like other players, ships, celestial objects, and so on, that you can zoom in and rotate around all in real time. They even want to integrate radar elements into the system, so if you're zoomed in on a particular space station, you'd see all the ships that are within range of it at that time being displayed on your MobiGlas, all of which you could click on, zoom in, and get more information on. The Mission Manager app has been revamped. It is now called the Contracts Manager. This is the app that manages all mission givers in the PU and eventually player-created missions as well. The first screen of it will be the available contract screen, where you'll be able to see all the missions that are available within your particular area, and see the details of each contract like reward information and who posted it. There will be a pending screen where contracts that have been sent directly to you will be displayed, and you can accept or reject them from there. The next screen displays the contracts that you've accepted and lists their objectives and allows you to track or abandon those contracts. A contract history screen will keep account of all the missions you've completed or failed so far. They want to introduce another screen that will allow players to create their own contracts and post them. Another app they will be introducing will be the Inventory Manager, which allows players to view all of their possessions that they've acquired in the SC universe, everything from ammo clips to capital ships. I really didn't mean to rhyme that. You can filter, sort, and search from this screen, as well as transfer these items from one cargo box to another or from ship to ship if they're close enough. Well, that's it for my summary of this week's Around the Verse. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I still have some footage left over that I lifted from the episode that I'm going to leave playing in the background along with some accompanying music by a very talented artist who goes by the handle Whitesand. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to be seeing you again in the next video.